And for more on China's two-child policy, we're joined by Baozhen Luo, live from Washington. She's an associate professor at Western Washington University. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Professor, China has abandoned its one-child policy to address the challenges of an aging population and to now try and resolve the gender imbalance. But this is going to take years before babies are born as a result of the policy change and are old enough to join the workforce. So is this all too little, too late?
Well, as you said, it really takes time to tell the effect of this new two-child policy. It's really hard to tell. However, I want to make two very important points. First, although fertility rate is very important, it's not necessarily the destiny in terms of addressing those challenges. More importantly, the Chinese government really need to put more resources into build a comprehensive welfare programs to support families in terms of education, healthcare, elder care, etc. So it's part of the puzzle. And even if this two-child policy may not necessarily work out as they expected, the other sort of more generous welfare program may help address those challenges. And the second point I want to make is that I actually do think the current Chinese administration has taken pretty quick move to address these challenges. For instance, in 2013, when they first allowed couples to have a second child when one of them is one of the parent is one child, and then when they didn't see it work out, only a fraction of the one-child couples decide to have children. They quickly, within 3 years, they enacted this two-child policy. So in that way, they are trying their best.
Well, you mentioned that even in the relaxation in previous years, there has been some reluctance. And even with a change, many couples may not even want to have more children. In fact, according to a survey cited by Capital Economics, nearly half, 50% of urban Chinese residents say they just want one child, no more. Why is this the case?
Well, I think there are two factors playing here. One is economic, another is cultural. So in terms of economic factors, raising children is just very, very expensive in China right now. In this very highly competitive sort of labor market, in order for their children to really succeed in education, in later job, sort of seeking for jobs, the parents are investing a tremendous amount in their education. Right now, in some urban areas in China, preschool is more expensive than college. This is kind of a little ridiculous. And the second part is cultural. I think the fertility attitude, people's fertility attitude have shifted partly due to the propaganda that the Chinese government has used for years to promote the one-child policy. Now people see having one child is enough for them to complete a family. And at the same time, you know, the opportunity cost is way too high that you have to lose a lot of other things, such as leisure, such as career.
So given the opportunity cost and the economic cost and the change in cultural mentality, which you highlighted, what can the government do to incentivize couples to have a second child? What policies are already in place in some of the provinces, and what could future policies involve?
Well, I think besides really important part of improving access to pediatric care, access to good public preschool education, I think the main part is to really support family through work. I mean, family-friendly policies at workplaces. For instance, longer elongate the maternity leave, even implement paternity leave. And not only just subsidies in terms of money, that's one way to go, but also it's time and stability for women to have, have that time off, but also have stability in their jobs, so they can really think about having a second child. I think essentially what we are looking at is Chinese government really need to improve a sort of their welfare program in a very comprehensive way. Not just healthcare, education, but at the same time also, for instance, elder care, housing, all of that to incentivize couples to have a second child.
Well, even if the birth rates aren't increased as high as one would hope, this is still going to lead to some kind of baby boom, and it is still going to result in greater business opportunities. Which industries are poised most to benefit from this?
Well, besides the more conventional, such as toys, clothing, services related to childcare and maternity care, I think for me, what I see based on my observation in China, two areas. First is preschool, private preschool education. I think that's a booming industry as the new emerging middle class families who actually may be able to, are more capable of affording a second child, they will really hope their second child to not lose at the starting line. So they will really look into high quality private preschool education. The other area I think that might experience a boom is like organic food industry, since food safety is a huge concern for the young families.
Okay, certainly lots of growth opportunities. Thank you so much, Baozhen Luo, Associate Professor at Western Washington University.